Like, that's the thought. But then since then, it's sexually transmitted from koala to koala and from mother to offspring, because baby koalas eat their mother's poop.
Oh.
And so they get chlamydia from their mother's poop.
Wait, why did they do that?
Because it's nutritious. Yum.
Okay.
Welcome to World's Wildest.
Hello.
Connor, you wanna wing a new intro for us?
Welcome to World's Wildest, the best podcast. What?
That's what I said.
I was doing a whole new intro.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Welcome to World's Wildest, where Maya's nope. Never mind. I'm not allowed to talk about that.
He was gonna make a forehead joke.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to our podcast, where we teach you about some of Earth's most extreme creatures. If you're new to the podcast, hi, my name's Maya. I'm the founder and executive director of an animal sanctuary in Texas. I like bugs, and I like birds, and I like wildlife.
What do you not like in the animal world? There's got to be one thing
that I don't like.
Yeah.
No, man. Individuals, maybe.
Okay.
Not species.
I feel like there was one. Like there's like the only one you ever said you wouldn't mess with.
There's one. I'm like scared of some.
Okay.
But I don't talk about them very often because I think it's bad PR. Introduce yourself.
My name's Connor O'Brien. I am Maya's director of operations at that sanctuary, and also have a wildlife technology company called Window to Wildlife, where we do a lot of cool things with wild birds and cameras and technology, stuff like that. So a lot of fun.
Yeah. I got my degree in agriculture. I've worked at a couple zoos, done wildlife rehabilitation. Connor's worked with some birds of prey. And we're friends. Yuck. And
thanks.
That's why we have this podcast, to teach you guys about animals. So welcome to the podcast if you're new. Thank you so much. Thank you so much if you guys have been here. This is our 28th episode.
Amazing.
I believe. World's Laziest. And it was a viewer suggestion from, drumroll please. Thank you.
Okay, that was not very good.
From Devil Knight on YouTube. World's Laziest. Animals who do the bare minimum to survive, yet it's a miracle they still survive. Was that comment?
I came into this just hate on some lazy animals.
Yeah. And you're like, you know what? Actually,
I'm coming away from this.
They're just really smart.
I don't want to say smart.
They're just really efficient.
Yeah, efficient. I would say they're so efficient that they don't have to worry about anything else. And that's my goal in life. To be so efficient, I can be lazy.
Okay, that's fair. Inspirational. Yeah. If you haven't already, you can check us out on Patreon and get our episodes ad-free over there. We also have extra content. And we have a lot of fun, and it's a really good time.
Have you seen Balto?
No.
We got to watch that one on the Patreon as well.
What is that?
It's about the Iditarod race up in Alaska.
Oh.
With those sled dogs.
Cool.
It's like my first Disney movie I ever watched as a kid that I remember.
Disney?
I think it's Disney, yeah.
Pretty sure animated?
It's Disney. Drawn, yeah.
Okay.
It's not like Pixar animation. That's what I think of when I think animation. But yeah, it's like 90s.
Cool.
Stuff. So watch that as well. It's a great one.
Okay. Shall we begin?
Yes. I want to hear about your world's laziest.
Okay. It is a type of scarab beetle.
Okay.
I could not find a common name. It was just discovered in 2012. But its scientific name is Eocorythodorus incredibilis.
You did a great job with that.
Thank you.
I can't do that.
It is a flightless 3 millimeter long beetle. It was just discovered in 2012 in Cambodia. It looks a little bit like this. Connor, describe for our audio listeners, please.
Very hard. You probably need to watch the YouTube video, but we've got like a shell, like a beach shell, looking back end, and then it's got two additional sections above it. I don't know, like, how would you describe it?
I mean, they know what a beetle looks like, right?
It looks different than a beetle, though.
It kind of looks like a combination of a beetle and a cockroach to me. It's got this like dark brown, kind of reddish exoskeleton. It's just like a little tiny beetle. Pretty cute. So here's what we're talking about, them being efficient.
Yeah.
And that's what makes them lazy.
Yes.
So they live in termite nests to steal termites' food.
Okay.
To steal the fungus that termites are growing. But if that's not enough, they also somehow manage to get the termites to carry them around.
Oh, okay. That's very lazy.
Very lazy.
Efficient.
So they were discovered when a researcher was digging through termite nests that were growing fungus gardens, and they found a bunch of these tiny wingless, nearly eyeless scarab beetles. Eyeless, yeah. So like they probably could not survive outside of these termite nests.
3 millimeters, very tiny.
Tiny. So they become dependent on these nests. They eat the fungus, and they secrete these chemicals. They have glands all across their body surface, and the chemicals mimic those of termite nymphs.
Okay.
So they have a disguise that convinces worker termites to carry them around way worker termites do with their nymphs. They've even evolved a little handle. So that carrying them is easier.
Oh, that's so nice of them.
Yeah, see, it looks like this. On the right side of this picture.
Okay.
So there's a couple segments of this body, right? And on the first segment of its body, it literally has like a little protruding horn handle.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the arrow is pointing to it.
I see it.
So it makes it really easy for carrying. Why do they want to be carried by termites? Number one, they can be carried to the most nutritious and delicious fungus.
Sure.
And number two, driver ants are a huge threat to termites and small beetles. So they'll like raid termite nests.
Oh.
And then when they do that, the worker termites are like, get the babies out of here.
Right.
And they pick up all the little babies and they carry them to safety. This is a driver ant. It is kind of, if you're a bug, like that is kind of a scary villain, I'll admit.
It's huge mandibles on it, a huge head, tiny body.
Huge head.
Yeah.
Huge mandibles for like a little ant. Yeah. Kind of terrifying.
Yeah, that is terrifying.
And so these little scarab beetles, when the nest comes under attack, they hunker down, they tuck all their little legs in, and then they get picked up. They start putting off chemicals, they tuck their legs, and then the termites carry them out.
Little transformer, okay.
Yeah, this is a picture of a termite carrying the beetle out.
Oh, wow, the termite is significantly bigger than the beetle.
Yeah, but they pick them up by the handle.
That's so cute.
And take them to safety.
To carry it by the handle. That's so nice.
Yeah. It's handy.
That's a good design.
Yeah. And they think, I mean, we don't know enough about them yet because they were just discovered 2012, but they think that they are a parasite, right, by definition, but probably aren't that harmful to the termite nest because the numbers are so few.
Right.
They're just kind of coexisting.
That's cool. On the last episode that we did, I did termites as well, and I learned like they have complex pheromone and communication, and that's how they own. That's the only way that they communicate. Yeah. And to be able to mimic that, and trick them into doing that, is super cool. Yeah. But very lazy.
It's not 100% effective. They've found beetles that had like cuts and stuff on their legs from being attacked by termites. So there are some termites that are like, I see through you. Yeah. Die. Smart termites. You know? But sometimes it does work. And it works well enough to where they are probably completely reliant on being inside termite nests because they can't see and they're teensy tiny and that's their main food source.
How do they mate and get distributed to other termite nests?
That I don't know. I'm not sure if we know.
Oh, okay. Yet. 2012, yeah.
But
that's cool.
That is my first World's Laziest. It is my dream to mooch off of somebody else's food and then have them carry me around everywhere. To safety, to better foods. Sounds like a good time.
Cool. Nice.
Way to be lazy.
Question.
Quiz time.
Okay. Current score looks like it's Maya 5, Maya 7, Connor 5.
L.
Talking about lazy animals, how high can a sloth fall without injury?
Who got that first?
No, you did by a lot.
32 feet.
Dang!
No.
32 feet?
Yeah.
If it's higher than that, I'm going to lose my mind. My guess was going to be like 15.
It's a lot higher than that.
60?
69?
Even more.
80? Who's out there dropping sloths to figure this out?
100 feet.
No way. It's still a
30.5
mammal.
meters. They're anatomically designed to fall out of trees. On average, a sloth will fall out of a tree once a week for its entire life.
That's crazy. That's insane.
Huh.
All right. Well, we both don't get it. So, speaking of world's laziest, here, take Claire, the world's laziest cat that wants attention all the time. So I can read my notes. Audio listeners, if you're hearing banging on mics, that is Claire wanting attention, rubbing up against the mics. Claire's a black cat who acts like a dog, so you should definitely watch the YouTube video to see Claire. So I've got a very, very lazy but very effective little mammal, and you've seen these little brown bats.
Okay.
So here's what they look like. They're brown and they're small. And they...
Can you hear Claire?
I can hear her from over here. Let's see if the audio listener... No.
Audio listeners? Claire ASMR?
On cue.
That's nice.
Very nice. She's so happy. Little brown bats. They got the cute little teefies.
I love bats.
I do too.
Frickin' bats.
And I love them more now. I thought I knew everything there was to know about bats. Did you just break the mic?
No.
Well, no. Claire broke the mic. Blame it on her. Okay. So they have a max wingspan of... producer, can you give me the tape measure right there in front of you?
I got this.
Thank you. 11 inches.
11 inches. Oh, shoot. 11 inches.
Tell me when.
No. It's too short.
Yep. You want to go again?
Yeah. That's it.
Holy Maya, you were a eighth of an inch off
Slay.
from 11 inches. So this is audio or non-audio listeners, YouTube viewers. This is how 11 inches is, and that's the wingspan. But they only weigh 14 grams or 3 grapes, like the average size of 3 grapes.
3 grapes.
Very, very tiny. So they're found throughout the northern U.S. and Canada. A average little brown bat will eat 1,000 mosquito-sized insects in an hour.
Oh my
1
gosh.
hour. A nursing mother eats approximately 4,500 insects every night. And we have a cute little picture of a brown bat eating a mealworm. This brown bat's in captivity or rehab, and they can eat pretty big insects.
Brown bats are bugs' biggest op.
Yeah. So it's estimated that little brown bats, save farmers 3.7 billion, or all bats, sorry, 3.7 billion in pest control each year in the U.S.
What makes them lazy if they're doing that kind of work overnight?
Oh, wait for it. Very lazy. So here's a crazy side fact. So you've been to Bracken Cave, right?
Yeah.
Bracken Cave is in San Antonio, Texas, has 20 million free-tailed bats. They can eat 220 tons of insects a night. That's equivalent to 55 elephants every night. Imagine...
The whole colony.
The whole colony. Imagine if white nose syndrome, which we'll talk about later, it's a deadly fungus, wipes out all of them. How many insects, the insect population would just explode in San Antonio, kill the agricultural economy there, and probably spread diseases like crazy. So we definitely need to protect them.
Bracken Cave, by the way, if you guys ever have the opportunity, is absolutely incredible. There's, like Connor said, 20 million bats, and they all come out of this cave that looks like the opening to the underworld every night. And they come out and they call it a bat-nado. And they circle into the sky like a tornado and cover the sky in bats.
It's crazy.
It's incredible. I have YouTube
there.
videos on it if you guys want to go see them.
Yeah, go check it out. So I was like, oh, like everybody knows what like echolocation is. You know, that helps them really find those insects and target them. But if the listeners or viewers don't know exactly what echolocation is, here's a quick, 2-sentence thing. So bats produce sounds waves at frequencies above human hearing called ultrasound. The sound waves emit by bats bounce off of objects in their environment. Then the sound can return to the bat's ears, which are finely tuned to recognize their own unique call. I didn't realize that they had to make unique calls that only they could know, because when you're flying with 19,999,999
Oh, yeah.
other bats,
That's interesting.
they're all looking for a food source.
Right.
How do you know? So like, it's really cool that we figured out that they're not interfering with each other.
Echolocation out of all animal senses is the hardest for me to wrap my head around.
Really?
Yes. Like, I understand what it is, but I cannot fathom flying in the sky when it's dark and knowing where something is via echolocation.
We should go spelunking. We need to do that anyway. But when you're like in a dark, super dark cave,
yeah,
and you can't see that there's no lights,
you think you can echolocate?
You can do it a little bit if you spend a lot enough time on it. Like blind people can, to a degree, echolocate. So that's also how Daredevil was able to fight.
Okay, Mexican
bad guys.
free-tailed bats though are also the fastest mammal on the planet.
What?
They can fly, I believe, at 120 miles an hour.
Jeez. You said fastest mammal. Yeah.
Fastest mammal. 100 miles an hour. 160 kilometers per hour. Imagine then flying at night with a bunch of other bats in the sky at 100 miles an hour.
They're probably not hunting at 100 miles per hour.
Okay.
But still.
Bear with me. Flying really fast with all those bats in the air, freaking squeaking and knowing where everything is.
To maintain flight, they have to go at least 4 miles per hour. I was looking into that.
Oh. What? How are they lazy?
Okay. Well, free-tail bats are different than little brown bats. Okay? Just wait for it. Because Mexican free-tail bats, little brown bats are super lazy comparatively then. So, this is why they're lazy, because they're effective hunters because of echolocation. They are lazy flyers comparatively to the Mexican freetail. So they do an average between 4 and 21 miles per hour, or 6 and 34 kilometers per hour. They average about 15 wing strokes per second, which is a super lazy pace compared to like a hummingbird. It does like 55 flaps per second.
15 per second. You try to do 15 per second. I don't think that's very lazy.
I'll do it.
1.
There.
Okay.
I just did it. You just can't comprehend it with your eyes. So they fly around. They eat lots of things. How long do you think they eat for?
6 hours.
Down.
4.
Down.
2.
Normal, like max 3 hours.
Okay.
But normally like 2. They only need to eat about half of their body weight to maintain homeostasis. Feeding mothers need to eat more than their body weight.
Right.
So what they do is they go around, they eat within sometimes even an hour, sometimes 30 minutes, depending on how effective they are. They go back to their cave, they hang upside down, they poop, and they go to sleep.
Okay.
Guess how long they sleep for?
21 hours.
Close. They average 19 hours per day, which is the second longest, or like the second most amount of like sleep time in the animal kingdom.
Oh, I got you then.
And my next one, what, really? My next one is supposed to be number 1. Python.
Interesting.
We'll see. So what's even lazier about them is the females only put out 1 pup per year. Just 1. For mammals, especially small mammals, that's pretty low. And their gestation, very lazy, 2 months of gestation. That's it.
Having
so
a
easy.
short gestation does not make you lazy.
Hold on, they get even lazier. They kick their pup out after 1 month.
How long, what's their lifespan?
The oldest in the wild was 31.
Oh, dang.
But they average 5 to 7 years.
Oh, no, yeah, that's not a lot
6
of
to
time.
7 years, sorry. So, so they kick them out. So that's not even the start of that is the start of their laziness, but it's not the laziest thing that they do. Their laziest thing they do is they hibernate from late fall to most of spring. So hibernation, aka torpor, is when they slow their metabolism down to barely use any energy. So in this torpor state, they're only breathing once every 30 minutes, one breath every 30 minutes. Their normal heart rate is 1,000 beats per minute, but they're able to slow it down to 20 beats per minute. Even their heart's getting lazy.
1,000 beats per minute. Wait, what is a human heart rate?
Like 70, 80?
Oh.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, it's scary.
So, yeah, they what is that, 6 to 8 months out of the year that they're hibernating. They wake up, they go eat bugs for an hour or two, and come back and
then
poop.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
And they're just like they have one pup a year. Granted, they don't have a lot of time to do it, but after hibernation. But it's just crazy. But they're so important for the environment and important for us.
Bats slay hard.
They're having a big issue. It used to be a lot worse than it is. But the white nose syndrome is devastating bat populations around North America. I think even in Europe, but I only know North America, so I only speak to that. So it's a deadly fungus, upper respiratory fungus, that disrupts them when they're hibernating, and that's how they die. They don't die directly from the white nose, but they die indirectly because they're woken up from their hibernation, basically, and they just burn through all the energy, and it's too cold to go outside and hunt.
We just looked at a picture, audio listeners, of a bat, and I'm going to be so real with you. It just looks like they took a little ski trip. It's on there. It's just on their nose.
So they haven't found many ways to treat it, except for recently. I saw a study in 2021. I did text a bat biologist. They've not gotten back to me yet. If I hear back, I will let you guys know. But they are testing UVC lights to kill the fungus on the bats and doesn't hurt the bats. Now, what they're trying to figure out is how to do this without nuking all the microbiome inside caves, because they don't want to mess up caves completely. So they're seeing what they can do with this light to kill and help with this. And a lot of times how this white nose syndrome gets moved around is people going from caves to caves without proper sterilization processes. So keep the bats safe. If you go spelunking, make sure you're changing your clothes and sterilizing things.
Cool. Nice.
Very lazy.
I think mine rivals this and your other one.
Okay.
Because I'm doing koalas. Some people say koala bear. It's not a freaking bear. It's a marsupial, which is a mammal that has a pouch for offspring, right?
Yep.
They can be up to 20 pounds, which is like pretty dense.
20% of you. That's
it's 9 kilograms. They're native to southeastern and eastern Australia. We have a picture of a koala. I don't think that we need to describe it to audio listeners. It's a freaking koala.
I think most people know. I became big fans of koalas after the Australian wildfires, because they really suck at getting out of the way of wildfires, and they need all the love they can get. Yeah,
they are listed as vulnerable right now, and I'll talk about some of that in a bit. So they're kind of like the bats in that when they're not sleeping, they're eating. And if they're not eating, they're sleeping. And that is it. They can guess how long they sleep a day?
18 hours.
18 to 22.
Oh, 22? Okay.
18 to 22 hours a day. They can eat up to 1 pound of eucalyptus per day.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Because it's just leaves.
Yeah, and they only eat eucalyptus, which is really, no offense to koalas, like really dumb.
Isn't that poisonous
to
people?
It's poisonous to like everything.
Oh, well, a very specific niche.
Niche. So it's a fast-growing native tree, or native to Australia tree. Most animals can't consume it because 1, it's very fibrous. 2, it's very low in nutrition, and 3, it's freaking toxic. Eucalyptus produces toxins to protect it from leaf-eating animals,
right? Like
koalas or like insects. So researchers, there's a couple reasons why they can eat eucalyptus. Researchers found that part of the koala genome that codes for detoxifying proteins is twice as big as in other mammals or humans. And their hypothesis for that is just that at some point, the section of the genome just accidentally duplicated itself.
Oh. How does that happen?
I don't know. That's literally what I read. Is they were like, yeah, at some point it just duplicated itself accidentally.
Oh, wow.
So it's just twice as big.
That's what thrived. Okay.
Koalas also have a crazy slow metabolic rate. So they can retain food within their digestive system for a really, really long time so they can extract like as much of the nutrients as possible because it's in there for a really long time.
Do they have a longer digestive tract too? I guess?
Yes, they do. So that maxes out the amount of time that energy can be extracted, and it minimizes the energy requirements that they have to put into finding food. But it's still not a good food source. Like it's a bad food source, I would argue. They can still only digest like 25% of the fiber that they're eating.
Oh, that's not much.
No, it's terrible.
25% of the stuff that you take in?
It's a terrible choice. And also, it's
that
not like...
That digestive system is lazy. It needs to work harder.
Yeah, you're kind of right. But what's dumb and doesn't make any sense is like they can eat other leaves.
Oh, okay.
Like there's...
I thought they were limited to just eucalyptus.
They literally can eat whatever. I don't know like why. I don't know. They're picky. And they only want to eat eucalyptus, but they could eat other leaves. They just don't. And so the reason that they're like lazy is because their food source sucks.
Yeah.
And they just have to eat a ton of it, and they get so little energy out of it.
They sleep all the time.
That they just sleep all the time.
It's very lazy. That's kind of dumb. Yeah, that's a dumb lazy. That's not an efficient.
It kind of pisses me off.
It's not an efficient lazy, which I was hoping.
Yeah, no, it actually
I'm
it is
losing
super
respect
inefficient.
for them.
Yeah,
They're still important. Wait, why are they important to the environment? Other than keeping down eucalyptus. And
let's see.
I guess spreading
koalas, specialist species that fill a unique ecological niche in the forests of Australia by eating eucalyptus leaves.
Okay.
Hold on, there's got to be more than that. There's got to be. I didn't actually look into their niche.
They're great for doing like STD studies. I know the CDC uses them because they spread chlamydia like crazy, and then they study them to see like as a model species for how STDs or STIs run rampant in society. So I know that.
Yeah. So I was gonna talk about that because people. I think people like kind of know that koalas have chlamydia. Like it's something that people talk about.
I heard like 98% of the population.
It's a lot. So in New South Wales, 80% of koalas are infected with chlamydia. Okay. And just so you guys know, it is a different strain of bacteria than human chlamydia that you guys are thinking of. And in koalas, it can cause blindness, infertility, kidney failure, fatal kidney failure. Super sad. It still is sexually transmitted though, like from koala to koala. They think that the origin of chlamydia in koalas was from exposure to feces of infected sheep and cattle.
Oh,
like that's the thought. But then since then, it's sexually transmitted from koala to koala and from mother to offspring because baby koalas eat their mother's poop.
Oh.
And so they get chlamydia from their mother's poop.
Wait, why do they do that?
Because it's nutritious. Yum.
Okay.
One of the reasons that this is such a problem for koalas is because koalas are so good at detoxifying agents because of the accident in their genome that doubled their freaking detoxifying abilities.
Right.
They're super resistant to antibiotics. So it's like really hard to do anything about it. They've recently,
think about that. That's crazy.
It is crazy. They've recently developed a vaccine. They're trying to trap koalas and vaccinate them for chlamydia. But populations have dropped up to 80% over the last 10 years in some places. It's really serious. It like really is a problem. And they're listed as vulnerable right now, but a population drop like that, it seems like they should be...
Data takes a while for it to catch up in politics.
And I did include a picture of a mom and baby koala just because it's really, really cute.
Oh, that is very cute. So their immune system needs to be lazier is what you're telling me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they should get up off their little fluffy butts and go find another tree and eat something else.
Yeah.
That's what I think. It's controversial. I understand.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe they could eat something that's like, they could be lazier if they would eat a more nutritious food source.
the scale of koala impact. We're live researching right now, by the way. If this is misinformation, it's not my fault. It's the internet's fault. This one is just saying that they eat so many leaves. They're eating a pound a day. I mean, there's a lot of koalas. They really are like...
Eucalyptus could run rampant.
And there's very few things that are affecting eucalyptus.
Right.
Because nothing can eat it. There's only like 3 mammal species that can eat it.
So it could overrun a habitat if it wasn't for the koalas, is what I would think.
Soil fertility.
Their poop, yeah.
Pooping.
I mean, all animals, play an important role. Just some play more of an importance. But yeah, we don't want to lose them either. Especially with like the forest fires, those are really affecting their populations a lot.
Yeah.
And they're getting better at rehabbing them from what I've seen, but it's still a struggle because they also need to have so much freaking eucalyptus for them in rehab. Sometimes it is not cost effective or easy to keep a massive amount of eucalyptus for a huge flood of burned koalas. But also, if you're talking that they're immune to antibiotics, if you have a burn, not immune, but they struggle with antibiotics, if they have burns, they can get infected really easily, and the antibiotics aren't doing anything for them. So
yeah, and they're freaking sleepy, so they can't run.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that's my laziest.
Nice.
Another quiz.
Okay, speaking of infection, which fungus inspired the fungal infection that creates clickers in The Last of Us?
Which fungus?
Yeah, what fungus inspired it?
I've got a laptop right here. I could look it up.
Don't look it up. Frick!
Because it affects ants, right?
Cordyceps.
That is correct.
Okay. Why'd you hesitate so much?
It's a very long... it is part of the word. It's like Ophiocordyceps unilateralis.
Oh, you went Latin on us. Okay.
Zombie ant fungus.
I knew it had to do with ants.
It does not
8 to 5?
affect the brain directly, but it takes over the ant's muscles and uses its body like a walkie-talkie to communicate with each other and influence the brain.
That's cool. That's awesome. What's the score now? 8 to 5, right?
It is now 8 to 5.
Yeah, 8 to 5. At 10, the loser gets punished and we reset.
Loser.
Not being me. I'm going to have a comeback run. Because I'm going to pay our producer to give me the answers ahead of time.
What? Yeah. Incriminating.
I don't want a bucket of cold ice water dumped on me.
Hold on. We're not doing that.
I thought you agreed to it. Handshake.
I don't remember that.
Well, I've got another laziest. Okay, I think the little bat one is the one that sleeps the longest. So it's what I got from BBC Science.
Okay.
Pythons is the second.
Okay.
And so I'm just doing pythons in general because it didn't specify which species of python sleeps the longest. They just said they sleep a really long time. So there's 40 species of python around the world. They're one of the most diverse snake families. The smallest python is a pygmy python. And I think I have a picture up. The next one, producer, I think I mislabeled it in the notes. But pygmy python is 20 inches or 50 centimeters. I tried to get, it's a reddish color python. It's very prevalent in the pet trade, which really sucks. So, no, that is the largest python, the reticulating python. You can leave it up. It's fine. So it's actually bigger than the Everglades invasive species, the Burmese python.
Is it?
Mm-hmm. So barely. So the reticulating python, the largest one known, was 20.5 feet, or 6.25 meters long, or 4 miles.
Sheesh.
The Burmese python was like 19.5 feet long, so just under. So reticulating, they're huge.
Yeah, massive.
This is a picture of a guy with these the interesting thing when like doing this kind of research is these large snakes get used for a lot of TikTok clout, and so that's what the majority of the pictures are.
Boo.
So it's kind of hard to find one that shows scale. Don't get a snake for TikTok clout. Don't do it.
Don't get any animal for TikTok clout.
No. Stick to cats, dogs, and didn't you say hamsters were a good pet? Or gerbils? No. There's one rodent. Rat? It was maybe just a rat.
No, I said like in comparison. One time I said in comparison to hamsters, guinea pigs are a better starter pet for kids. But
gotcha.
I still wouldn't really just get a dog or a cat.
Okay, stick to that. Rescue one. So the pythons, they sleep for 75% of the day or 18 hours. Mm-hmm. Crazy. So that's pretty lazy as it goes.
Sleep is crazy because they don't have eyelids.
Right. I didn't know this because we have carpet python at Alveus.
Yeah.
And then Patchy is a ball python.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how long they sleep for.
I've never really thought about the fact that she's sleeping because her eyes are open, but their eyes are obviously always open because they don't have eyelids.
Right.
Snakes don't have eyelids.
So when we don't see them on camera, now they have got much better enclosures to where they can like really sleep and like be in really good areas away from camera. But like, I always thought maybe like the enclosures were too cold before. And now that
they
they're
just
like,
weren't moving.
Yeah. But now that the enclosures are warm, they're perfect.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't need to stress that much. So the other thing that they are pretty lazy about is like in the winter, they go into brumation, which is like a type of hibernation, can last anywhere between 4 and 7 months. And brumation is just a state of inactivity or dormancy to lower the metabolic rate. And they will come out of this state to go get water and food if they need it. They're just a little bit slower, not as efficient with it. But warm front comes in, that does wake them up a little bit, and they use it to their advantage to go out and get a meal and get water as well. So they're lazy because they don't really need to eat that much. Their body's pretty efficient. They don't grow very fast. I want you to guess, based on how often we feed the snakes at Alveus, how much do you think a wild python will eat every year?
What, like a 20-foot long python? Or just like wild python, period?
I did wild python, period, but I do talk kind of
How
like about
often do
size.
they eat every year? 5 times.
It's a really good guess. So the lowest that I saw was 6. And they don't typically do more than 24 times in a year.
That makes sense.
So it depends on like their size, what kind of prey they get, how successful they are with that prey size, and then the habitat that they're in will determine how much they need to eat. But that's pretty lazy because it's effective because they're sit and wait predators. They have those heat sensing pit organs that help them to detect prey more easily. Could you describe a little bit more about because you mentioned it quite a bit at all.
Pit organs?
Yeah.
So there's like little holes on the sides of snakes' heads, like near their mouths. And it's a heat sensing organ, so they can essentially see their prey's heat signature.
Like thermal,
so think thermal camera. It's not quite like that, but that's the idea.
Yeah. And I tried to pull up a picture from our trailer because you talked about that in the World's Wildest trailer as well. But so once the python strikes a prey using this thermal vision, basically, they squeeze it to death, which is not that lazy. It takes a good bit of work, takes a lot of muscle to do that. So I, with the tiny the brown bats, I was like, oh, they're lazy with their offspring. I suspect pythons are even lazier. I bet they just lay their eggs and dip.
Yeah.
But no, they're not lazy, which is crazy. So they lay their eggs and they will coil around their eggs to protect them. And if the temperature drops too much or gets too cold, the mom will start shivering, air quotes. So it's just rhythmic contractions of their muscles. And it looks like the snake is hiccuping almost. But this is called thermogenesis, to keep the eggs warm.
Aww.
So that's why like Burmese pythons are really good in the Everglades, and I'll get to talking about that invasive species in a second. But that's why they're very effective at reproducing out there, because they'll guard them. Not all pythons do that, and then obviously the fathers, they do the deed and then dip out, and they're never seen again. So they're pretty lazy for that.
Yeah.
So talking about invasive species, because we're talking about pythons, we got to talk about the Everglades. Very important down in Florida. Huge biodiversity getting decimated by Burmese pythons because someone had them as pets, probably in Miami is where they think it came from. And a few people released their pets
because they got too big.
They want to take care of them.
This is too much. I don't want it anymore. Be free.
Put them out in the Everglades, and they quickly blew up.
Yeah.
And they've become such a problem in causing such an environmental issue that it's affecting tourism. It's affecting their economy down there. So now there's an economy to kill.
Like bounties.
Yeah, bounties on these Burmese pythons. And I'm not one for killing wildlife, but there's no other method that we can find to control this. They're trying birth control, but it's not really working out too well for them. So they've got to pay people. They'll pay contractors anywhere between $13 and $18 an hour. But if you're a freelancer, you can get $50 per python up to 4 feet long, and $25 additional dollars for every foot over 4 feet. So the larger ones, which produce more eggs, are more expensive. So there's a lot. I've fallen down the TikTok train before about these bounty hunters that they'll go out and talk to locals and find the biggest ones and make whole YouTube videos out of it to go take it down.
So sad.
It is.
Well, what's sad about invasive species in this case is it's really easy to like villainize this species and be like, boo, that python's bad and is killing the environment. But how sad that it's not their fault at all, that it's completely human caused. And then there's all these individuals that are just living where they were born.
Yep.
And they're just bounty hunted because they have to be.
Yeah.
How awful.
It's a horrible situation. I hate it.
Yeah.
So the last thing that they'll pay for is nest. $200 per nest if you can prove it and that you removed it.
Wow.
And this is all through Florida Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of money around it now. I wish there wasn't. So stick to cats and dogs and keep your cats and dogs inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, world's laziest.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned a little bit. We love seeing all of your suggestions in the YouTube comments. Thank you. We're going to head over to Patreon and film a bonus episode over there. There are bonus episodes on there every week. So come check us out on Patreon if you want to see more.
Thank you so much.
Like and subscribe.
See you soon.
See you soon.